Welcome to Inside the Mind, a podcast hosted by myself, Jennifer Forster, and my beautiful co-host, Allie. We're excited to be here, diving into edgy, raw, and relatable conversations, woven together with mind-blowing questions that will shake up your model of the world, expand your thinking, unravel your beliefs, tease apart your patterns, and walk you to the very edges of everything you've ever believed about yourself.
As NLP trainers, coaches, entrepreneurs, we will be traversing the topics of business, relationships, money, family, spirituality, leadership, and personal growth, all through the discerning lens of NLP, ancient teachings, and a healthy sprinkling of womanly wisdom. One thing we believe to be true is that if we want a different outcome, we must be willing to ask a different question. And the answers to those questions are always inside the mind. Hello and welcome to another episode of Inside the Mind. My name is Allie and this is the one and only Gen 5 star.
The one and only Gen 5 star, the one and only Allie May. You are in good hands today. Allie, what are we diving into today?
Today we're going into the topic of rapport.
Why is rapport important? Why would a business owner, why would a coach, why would a leader, why would someone who's up to big things want to A, know what rapport is, and B, become exceptionally masterful with their rapport? Why would that be?
Rapport supports us to get whatever we want, however we want, and not in a manipulative way. It's something that allows us to be able to communicate with somebody effectively, whether they like us or whether they don't, or vice versa. So have you ever walked into a room and you've just gotten a vibe from somebody that they don't like you? Or the other way around, you've walked into a room, you haven't even opened your mouth and you can see someone in the room and you just don't like them.
100%. And think about that. Think about where perhaps with a client, or you might have a client sitting across from you and you are attempting to understand what's really going on for them. And no matter what you do, there's this disconnect like hanging between you. How valuable would it be to you as a coach to know how to remove that thing that's sitting between you so that you can fully understand what's going on for your client, and furthermore, have that client feel like they are able to share with you exactly what it is that's going on for them? I think the results are, of course, going to be tenfold when we can operate in that way.
And what if we take it a step one back? What if it wasn't even when we were sitting with a client that we were attempting to get in rapport with them? What if we already had the rapport before we were sitting with a client? So the way that I like to look at this is when we're on a phone call with somebody that's going to become a potential client, potential student, depends what industry we're in. When we're at that point, what if no matter what, you knew how to be able to have a conversation with someone in their words, in their way of seeing the world? How much easier would it be then to be able to support someone with what it is that they need? And that's where ecology comes into. It's a win-win.
You know what I love here too? So have you ever had this happen to you? And I'm so curious about this. Have you ever sent a message in Messenger to somebody? Well, of course you have, or a text message. And you know fully in your heart that your intention for the message was one of love, one of connection, knowing that what you wanted to share with them was going to be of some value to the other person. And yet, when that message lands for them and the response that comes back to you is the complete opposite, it's like, did I just send the message in Japanese, in Chinese, how is it that what I said, how did they take it the way they took it? How did it not land in the way that I intended it to land for them? Well, there's a reason for that, right, Allie? So in communication, words make up only 7% of our communication. What? Which means, do the math, 93% of our communication is missed, right? Is missed in some way. So what is that 93% made up of? Well, it's made up of, I think it's 38%, check my maths here, 38% is tonality. How does tonality come across in a text message? It can't, right? And the other 55% is physiology. So what is your physiology? It's all the non-verbal stuff, right? So in our communication, if we're sending a message via text and it doesn't land, well, there's a 93% chance it's not going to land because you've only sent 7% of the communication, that is, the words. So how do we prevent that from happening? establishing rapport, knowing the person, asking questions. Ask questions about the person, know the person in a way. There's a beautiful term of phrase in rapport that really sums it up like this: people who are like each other.
And let's go into that. So
Yes.
how many times have you been in a space where someone says, oh my God, I feel like I've met you before? Or actually, that one for me is such a common piece that I hear from so many people, like on the daily almost. Someone will say to me, or at least weekly, someone will say to me, oh my gosh, have we met before? Now, I believe that because of my work with strangers, I'm automatically able to get into rapport.
Yeah. And it's an unconscious thing for you because rapport is
Unconscious. It's being able to work with someone at the unconscious level. So when we are in rapport, people who are like each other, or people who feel friendly to other people as well, other people just are magnetized to that. And I feel like if we're moving in our lives in such a way where we're not always focused on ourselves, which most people are focused on themselves, and we're able to smile at somebody, or we're able to, we call it matching and mirror them. If someone is standing with their hip out and we stand with our hip out, then we're automatically in the space of rapport. If somebody has a certain tone or they're talking fast and we're able to match that, then automatically we're getting in rapport with people. And there's just this familiarity sometimes when we are in a state of living from a place of rapport where people feel like they know us. And it's not always, I feel like in our body of work, we just live that way anyway. And then without this body of work, you're going to have people that feel that way about you just on a first meeting. And so things can be like, what star sign are you? Or where were you born? Or have we met before? Or geez, you look like someone that I know. They're all classic signs that you have rapport with somebody.
And also, as a little bit of how for you, how can you begin to practice rapport? Just like Allie said, begin to be interested as opposed to interesting. So get interested about the person that's standing across from you, because if you can ask a couple of questions like that, I've got a great example. It's not the example I was going to share. Another one's dropped in, which is such a great example. If we can do that, then what will happen is you end up getting what you want. And not just you, but so does the other person. Rapport is not a one-way street, right? So ultimately, it's how we, as in whoever's in the communication, gets what they want. Everyone gets what they want, which is win-win, which is, as Ali said at the start of this conversation, it's all about ecology. Rapport isn't, it can be, if you want to use it this way, it can be used in a way that's manipulating. However, that's not the intention of rapport in the body of work that we teach. So the example that I want to share. So my sisters and I were up in the Tambourine Mountains a little while ago now. And we arrived, we had no plan for the day. However, we arrived at the skywalk and we decided, yeah, let's go do this skywalk. Now, because we hadn't planned out our day, we arrived at like 10 minutes before they were opening. And we didn't even realize that. We just kind of pulled up and went, wow, hardly anyone here. We didn't know that it wasn't actually open. But we drove in and we parked, and there was a guy just doing a little bit of gardening and just a bit of general tidying up. And instantly, as we pulled up, we were friendly with him. You know, we're like, hi, wow, gee, really love all of the beautiful gardens here. What a beautiful space you're creating. So instantly, we acknowledged him and what he was doing in the space. Now, we could have just said, hey, what time do you open? Still, you know, genuine question. However, not likely to establish as a beautiful amount of rapport. So he was really friendly. And then he said, we're not open yet. Come on in. Go park over there. In fact, you're going to get the best car space. And we're like, yeah, cool, amazing. And we said, when do you open? He said, oh, in about 10 minutes. So we went in, we parked, and then we got out of the car and we walked into the space because the doors were open. So we walked in, there was a lady at the counter, and immediately I sensed that she wanted to say something to that effect. And what I noticed in that moment, this is such a cool story. What I noticed in that moment was she was wearing an aquamarine ring, and it just caught my eye, right? And this wasn't, I want to share, this is unconscious. I'm breaking this down for you consciously. It was all unconscious. I noticed the ring and I immediately said, oh my goodness, I love your ring. Is that an aquamarine? Because I had just bought an aquamarine ring, remember? And she looked down at her hand and she said, oh, it is. And she said, my husband gave that to me. It was for our 30th anniversary. Anyway, we got chatting. And then she says, oh, by the way, we're not open yet. And I went, oh, that's cool. That's totally cool. She said, but when we do, here's a map. It'll show you where to walk, which direction to go in. In fact, most people go this way. My tip, go this way, right? So all happening in this whole experience was just exquisite, right? Now, let me give you what could have happened, just to give you contrast. If we'd have driven in and gone, hey, what time do you open? And he goes, oh, not for another 10 minutes. We could have then gone, oh, God, not for another 10 minutes. Ugh, blah, 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 right? And then walked into the space, and the lady could have had a certain look on her face, and we could have gone, oh, look, we know you're not open for another 10 minutes. We know. The whole experience would have been different. And the point here is, if you are not getting what you want in life, back that truck all the way back up and ask yourself, am I in rapport with the person that I'm wanting to co-create results with? You know, why do Allie and I bounce so beautifully in these podcasts together? Because look at us, like if you can only hear us right now, but we're both sitting here, we've both got papers on our knees, we're both holding our cups in a certain way.
My legs are crossed, however, your legs are like leaning. Sort of, and the knees are together, so they're almost crossed. Yeah. We're linked in with each other. It's rapport, right? So people who are like each other. In business, when you're working with clients, when you're building a team, when you're looking to really get results from the people in your business, as a leader, if you're looking to create any kind of influence or to have an impact, or you have a big vision that you want to get out there to the planet, rapport is going to be a critical part of that process. And something that you shared there, Jen, I loved all of that, what you just shared then as the example. Something that just keeps dropping in over and over and over again, which I think is something that can just be easily taken away from this, is be interested.
Yes.
And that's where it's not I'm just going to pretend to be interested to get what I want. That's not what we're talking about. It's one of my favoriteest things ever. Do you genuinely give a fuck?
Hashtag GGAF.
When you're
welcome. You can put that anywhere. We'll see you. We'll find you.
It's, do you actually care about the people around you? Or are you more interested in getting something for yourself from a place of just getting it? This can be taken, like what you said too, Jen. Like if you have people that are working, say, I go and I train at a beautiful gym space. Now, my trainer, he's got great rapport with the people that are there. So people want to keep coming back. Now, if you are someone who is in a leadership space like that, what's your rapport like with the people that are coming into your space? Do they want to come back? Do you have enough interest in them that has them want to come back? Are you asking them questions about their life? Are you creating a beautiful relationship? Because then in that space, your business is going to thrive as well, because people are going to want to be around you based off what you're creating and how you make someone feel. Now, you can get all of this as well. You can receive what you want by going into, take it out of business context. I like your example you shared, Jen. This could be, you might want to get in at a restaurant and the restaurant is full. Now, how are you working with the person on the other side? Are you angry? Are you frustrated? Or are you actually getting yourself into rapport with the person so that they want to support you? If your back's up and you're not being very nice, how the heck are you going to get what you want? This happens everywhere. Everywhere.
Do you want to share the example of the prac?
Yeah, quickly I'll share it.
I think it's really a really great one to illustrate, particularly when things don't go as planned. We can bounce into blame, or we can get in rapport. I'm telling you, if you want to get what you want, choose rapport over blame every single time. Yes,
100%.
Great.
I'm pretty sure I touched on this in a very early episode on.
It bears repeating though.
Yeah.
So many lessons in this.
So many. So the very first NLP practitioner training that I ran, this is the example you're
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. The very first practitioner training that I ran, we turn up, there was 8 of us there, 6 students, my assistant and myself. And so I turn up at the front desk, almost everybody's there waiting. And I get to the front desk and they're like, hi, Allie. I'm like, we're here to check in. And they check the books and they're like, oh, you're booked in for next Friday. It was a Friday. And they're like, you're booked in for next Friday. I'm like, no, I'm booked in for today. And she's like, nope, we've got you in the books for next Friday. Now, in that moment, the inside, I was like, oh, fuck. We're all here. People have taken time off work. Everyone was ready to go for this training. Now, they were full. Because of my ability to be in rapport with people, naturally, to be in rapport with people, we actually were able to get another space, until a space became available there at the complex that we were staying at the resort we were staying at. So they bent over backwards for us. They let us put our food in their fridges down in their rec room. They found us a spot across the road so that we could have somewhere to stay. They were so great with us, and I have such a beautiful relationship with them even now. I've stayed there a few times. I have somebody else, or I'm co-running a retreat there in September, and they're just so willing to support us in whatever it is that we do. And I believe that's from that initial moment of being in rapport.
Yeah.
100%. Now, if I had have got the shits and I had have said, you guys fucked this up, you guys didn't get this right, you should have done better, what do you think they would have done? Sorry, we'll see you next Friday. But they bent over backwards to make sure that we had what it is that we needed at that point in time.
Yeah, they truly did. They went over and above. And I absolutely agree, Allie. It was rapport all the way.
We also had a little bit of behavioral flexibility.
We had, so I think, I was just reflecting on that. So I think the other, if you've listened to previous episodes and Allie has shared that story, there is a beautiful lesson if you want to go back, it'd be in the first 2 to 3 episodes where we speak to behavioral flexibility. And it's a great example there. There are so many experiences that occur every second of every day in our lives where we can really begin to have a look at, are things going the way we want them to go? Are we constantly butting heads with someone? You might have someone in your business, you might have a client. Look, it might even be with a teenager or someone in your family or a partner, and you're constantly locking horns with that person, or you're constantly butting heads over things, or what you say isn't landing for them, or what they say isn't landing for you. I'm going to call it and say one of the biggest pieces in there is rapport. Communication is the response you get. What did we just say about communication? Well, only 7% is words. So it's not just our words. It is also our tonality and our physiology. And those, when you combine your words, your tonality, and your physiology together, you get the most robust and beautiful experience of rapport. And that's how we get what we want, like pretty much. That's how we all win.
Communicating in somebody else's way too. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not getting the response that you want, you're not communicating in a way that's landing with the other person. And it's not always the easiest thing to do. I think in business, it's a lot easier than in relationship or with our children. And this is a whole other episode, when we take out our own internal pieces, when we take out our own woundings, and we take out our own need to be right or to prove ourselves or something like that, and we can actually listen to the person across from us, then we're able to still, even if we disagree, we're able to still come to a place of resolution, or at least an amicable space. Respecting somebody else's model of the world is really huge here with rapport as well. When we go into family and when we go into relationship, we're talking specific mostly for business here. So we'll keep it at that for today. This rapport is a part of becoming a masterful communicator. And it is something that we teach. Rapport is a 101 teaching NLP trainings. We have one coming up in October. We're really, really excited about that. That's the practitioner level. If you're interested in learning more about rapport, more about NLP, more about how you can bring these tools into your own business, please reach out. There's a lot of ways you can connect with us. Just check below where you're listening to or watching right now, and you'll find how you can link in with us.
So to close out, if your communications are not landing the way you want, if your message is not getting across the way you want it to, rapport is something that can be so useful, even from the perspective of writing a social media post, creating engagement with the people that follow you on social media. Rapport is a critical component to exceptional, as Ali said, masterful communication, deeper levels of connection, and having it become a win-win for all involved. Yeah, I think that wraps that one up beautifully.
Happy communicating.
See you on the next episode.
Catch you next time.